everybody. Sam Goodman. Really fucking scary stories. How are you doing today? I hope things are going absolutely great in your neck of the woods. I'm pumped. Can you tell? I mean, I'm over here fucking dancing in my chair doing the season 3 dance. I'm just having an absolute blast. Getting to hang out with you, first and foremost, and getting to tell you or share with you some really fucking scary stories. I hope if it's just an ounce, if it's just a quarter, if it's just a little tiny bit, as good for you as it is for me, we're in good shape. I'm just having a fucking blast. But before we dive into today's episode, do me a favor, head over to www.palehorsemedia.co. Check out this podcast. Check out the other ones we've got cooking over there. We have the Hop Nerd podcast. We've got Hey Y'all with Sam Goodman. We're coming to you from the palehorsemedia.co studios. So anything that you pick up at the merch store, anything, just cruising the website, subscribing to the other shows, making sure that you're subscribed to this show. All of that stuff quite literally helps us keep the lights on around here. It allows me to continue to bring you this content on our regular basis. It's allowed us to bring you, at this point, 3 seasons of really fucking scary stories. It's allowed us to bring you, at this point, Jesus, almost 200, maybe 200 by the time this comes out. I don't know, 200-ish episodes of the Hop Nerd podcast and a bunch of stuff over there with Hey Y'all with Sam Goodman. So if you scroll down, if you leave us some stars, if you write us a review, if you share this with your friends, family, your frenemies, if you head over to the merch store, you check some stuff out there. If you like it, if you love it, if you got to have it, you pick up a shirt, you pick up a hat. That stuff, quite literally, it's just amazing. Just going out and telling people about us helps us an absolute ton as well. The more folks that subscribe, the more folks that tune in, it allows us to bring this, obviously, to a larger audience, but it helps us in the whole podcast algorithm thing, and it's just awesome. It just helps us a ton. The more folks that we can bring to this freaky, deaky, paranormal, true crime party, the more fun for all of us. So, again, thank you for all of your support. Thank you for everything that you do to support us, whether it's through the merch store, whether it's by writing a review, or just telling your friends about us and letting your freak flag fly and letting them know all about your love for all things true crime, paranormal. Even if it's just saying, hey, look, there's this crazy guy, Sam, he screams into a microphone about paranormal crap. He screams into this microphone about true crime crap. He gets way overly excited about this stuff, and it doesn't completely suck. That helps us a ton. You can check out my other website, sugoodman.com. Again, Pale Horse Media Co. But I'm telling you that because you can slide into the handy dandy contact form, because if you've had a paranormal experience, if you had a brush with true crime or anything just fucking strange that you want to share with us, do that. Let us know. If you want to come on the show and share it, we can make that happen. If you just want us to tell your story, we can make that happen as well. If you've got stuff for Q&A, anything like that, if you just want to say hello, howdy, hi, what's up, you can do that too. So, with all of that being said, and social media. Go check us out on all things social media. You can just find us. You can search Sam U. Goodman. You can search The Hop Nerd. You can search Pale Horse. You'll find it. Trust me, you'll find it. We're pretty much anywhere that you find people doing peoply things that are online, I guess. But, with all of that being said, and me exclaiming to the world my fucking excitedness for season 3, we get to jump in to today's episode, and it's this. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? It's the Doomsday Couple. So this one is really, really fucking fresh. And by fresh, I mean still going on. Like still a thing. A lot of the research that I pulled for this one is from last year, mid to late 2020. So this shit is still cooking and still trying to figure this stuff out. And you're probably aware of it, but maybe you're not. But the bizarre case surrounding, or I guess starring, Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow started with suspicions from extended family members and has since really been followed by folks all around the freaking world, just transfixed by the increasingly disturbing circumstances surrounding Daybell and Vallow and the whereabouts of their 2 missing kids. So suspicions surrounding the couple first emerged when family members urged local police to investigate the disappearance of 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and his 17-year-old sister, Tylee Ryan, who had not been seen since like fucking September of that year. So it had been a bit. Like, they had been just not there for a minute. The investigation quickly morphed into something way more complex when reports of the mysterious deaths of the couple's former spouses, along with rumors of doomsday cult-like beliefs, and then they suddenly moved to Hawaii. It just raised a ton of eyebrows. Just fucking crazy. So let's talk a little bit of timeline. I think that's probably the easier way to do this one, just because this one's really, really complicated. So let's talk timeline, and then we'll try to piece it together at the end, and then you can be the judge. But 2001, Lori Vallow marries Tylee's father. So according to the Post-Register, Lori Vallow married her third husband and Tylee's father, Joseph Anthony Ryan Jr., in 2001. Joseph adopted Lori's son, Colby, who she had in a previous marriage. Joseph and Lori eventually filed for divorce in 2004. But then Joseph died of a heart attack in 2018 and was cremated. In 2006, Lori Vallow marries her fourth husband and adopts JJ. Lori and her fourth husband, Leland Charles Anthony Vallow, married in Las Vegas in February of 2006. The two adopted Joshua Jackson J.J. Vallow, who was a biological grandson of Charles' sister, Kay Woodcock, whose husband, Larry, would eventually raise concerns to law enforcement over the disappearance of the two children, J.J. and Tylee. In 2014, Charles and Lori Vallow moved to the Hawaiian Islands of Kauai. Approximately a year after the couple moved to Hawaii with JJ and Tylee, it was reported that Lori became obsessed with the books written by Chad Daybell 4 years before the two eventually married. According to a former friend of Lori who remains anonymous, and I get it, Lori was especially intrigued with Chad's fictional series called Standing in Holy Places, which centered on apocalyptic scenarios loosely based on Mormon theology. Lori's friends said those books, that she just got really obsessed with them. She was buying those books for other folks too. She got close to him from his books. Ultimately, that's what led her to him. According to East Idaho News, the family eventually moved to Arizona. Moved here between 2016 and 2007. In 2018, Lori met Chad Daybell. Again, according to that East Idaho News, Lori met Chad Daybell in 2018 when he was teaching an evening class at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which she attended. The two reportedly became close, immediately traveling together to religious conferences in St. George, Utah, where Chad gave talks on his books. The two reportedly continued to speak daily from the very first time that they had met. They kind of kept this up. 2019, Lori's brother kills Charles Vallow. So court documents suggest that the family started to unravel early in 2019 when Lori was still married to Charles Vallow. The couple were estranged, and Vallow had filed for divorce, saying that he feared she would kill him and that she had developed cult-like beliefs. Charles alleged that Lori claimed to be a god assigned to carry out the work of the 144,000 at Christ's second coming in July 2020. The family was living in a suburb here of the PHX of Phoenix in July when Lori's brother Alex Cox shot and killed Vallow. Cox asserted that the shooting was in self-defense after Vallow allegedly came at him with a baseball bat. Police investigated, but the case didn't go far before Cox died of a blood clot in his lung in December of 2019. And so this was just like right there. I remember all this shit happening on the local news here. Fucking intense. 2019, Lori Vallow marries Chad Daybell. It's fucking cleared up. Now you can just move right on. Lori Vallow moved to Idaho. Lori Vallow moved to Idaho with JJ and Tylee, getting an apartment in the small town of Rexburg and spending time with Chad Daybell. So she's obsessed with this dude. She's into like this fucking cult like shit now. Like she's got like this weird like mixture of like Chad's fantasy land, I think, from his books, and then these LDS beliefs. She's merged them, and she's ready for the fucking apocalypse, the doomsday. Right? She's ready. She's getting shit ready. The couple had known each other for a while, sometimes participating in podcasts about preparing for the biblical end times for an online investigation aimed at members of the LDS Church. I'm going to have to go check out this podcast. I bet there's some fucking wacky shit in there. At the time, Chad was married to Tammy Daybell, a 49-year-old school librarian who helped him run his small publishing company. Guess what? Guess what fucking happened? Can you guess? Tammy Daybell died. Oh, could you imagine? She died her obit saying she passed away in her sleep of natural causes. The family declined an autopsy before she was buried. About 2 weeks later, 2 weeks, okay, bitch dead, sucks, fucking just certain that Chad Daybell, because listen, 2 weeks later, Chad Daybell married Lori Vallow in Hawaii. It's amazing how their paths just cleared up naturally for them to come together. The quick marriage drew suspicion of officers who had Tammy Daybell's body exhumed for an investigation. And as to, at least at this point, at the time that I'm recording, I'll throw that piece in there in case something develops before this is released. Those autopsy results have not yet been released. So as we're moving into 2019, as we said, there's the disappearance of JJ and Tylee. So Tylee was last seen in September of 2019, headed into Yellowstone Park with Lori and other family members for a day trip, and JJ was last seen by school officials several days later. JJ's grandparents, Larry and Kay Woodcock, were growing increasingly worried, obviously, about the kids, that they said they once made regular phone calls with JJ, but those had grown infrequent, and then they just fucking boom, stopped. Not a good sign. They said Lori wouldn't tell them why the boys were always unavailable, or why the boy was always unavailable. In November of 2019, the Woodcocks asked Rexburg police to check on the children. When officers stopped by to question Lori, they said that she and Chad Daybell lied about the children's whereabouts. When investigators returned the next day to follow up, Lori and Chad, can you believe it? Lori and Chad were gone. Oh, well, so the police show up. Where are your kids at, y'all? They're good. We'll come back. Oh, but fuck, they're gone. They're gone. So police began searching immediately for Tylee and JJ in November after relatives raised concerns. Police said Chad and Lori lied to investigators about the children's whereabouts before quietly leaving Idaho. Law enforcement officers searched Chad Daybell's home initially on January 3rd, and in connection with his first wife's death. So again, lots of suspicion, removing more than 40 items, including several pieces of computer equipment. A few days later, JJ's grandparents announced a $20,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of the kids. They later asked a judge to give them custody of JJ, who is still missing, and they have pushed to keep a spotlight on the search. They posted billboards. They had all kinds of social media stuff going, all of that stuff. So as we mentioned, in 2020, Lori and Chad Daybell quietly sneak off to Hawaii. While the couple slipped away to Hawaii in January, the investigation pushed forward in Idaho, Arizona, and Utah. So we're talking multiple fucking states, including now where they're living in Hawaii. Eventually, they were found in the islands, and a judge ordered Lori to bring the children to officials to prove they were safe. She refused and was charged with child abandonment and other crimes. She was extradited to Idaho. In the weeks following, the Idaho Attorney General's office took over the investigation into Tammy Daybell's death, while Lori had tried and failed to get her bond lowered. Meanwhile, Tylee, JJ's relatives, they were all waiting for answers. They watched JJ's birthday arrive in late May. A quote from the family here is, "Our feelings of extreme anguish and despondency were prevalent throughout this period approaching JJ's 8th birthday." This is from Kay Woodcock. "Our Rexburg family hosted a vigil on a Monday of 5/25 in honor of our little man. We are comforted knowing their commitment is as strong as ours." So then there's a development. June 10th, authorities said they uncovered human remains at Chad Daybell's home in rural Idaho as they investigated the disappearance of his first wife and Lori's 2 children. Authorities had not officially released the identity of the body on the property of Daybell, but relatives said that they belonged to the missing children. Police from the small town of Rexburg, Idaho, along with the FBI and sheriff investigators, searched Daybell's home in eastern Idaho in the town of Salem for a second time, bringing in backhoes, setting up tents in a nearby field. The search warrant was sealed, and the Rexburg Assistant Police Chief Gary Hagan said he couldn't reveal the details other than the search was linked to the children's disappearance. So then shortly thereafter, right, initially the police are going, we don't know whose they are. We can't tell you whose they are. All this is sealed. But in the ensuing hours, they took Daybell into custody, confirmed that the human remains, that those were human remains that were found on his property. Days later, the police announced that the remains